Hey, soldiers. Kevin O'Leary has come out and he's been all over the media with regard to the FTX scandal. And I want to explain to you why he's doing that. Now, I actually think it's a good idea. The execution, we'll get into that later. And I want to make something clear. I am totally ambivalent when it comes to Kevin O'Leary. I do not watch Shark Tank. I do not like Kevin O'Leary. I do not dislike Kevin O'Leary. He's just there. Okay, so I'm just looking at this from an analytical standpoint, taking a look at, his strategy and how he's playing this as it rolls forward. And I do think that he is using a strategy. Will it work long term for him to preserve his reputation? We shall see. But if you really sit back and think about it, he is the only celebrity endorser of FTX that has come out and said, hey, I'm going to confront this head on. Okay. And that makes sense because he is, to my knowledge, one of the only celebrity investor who is also a legitimate investor. So he has a reputation to maintain. Sure, Tom Brady endorsed FTX, but you know what? That endorsement is not going to disturb Tom Brady's relationships with his fans of the NFL, of a particular football team, of him. It's totally different worlds. Now, O'Leary, he is a money manager. I know that one of the things he has business in, or one of his clients is one of the sovereign wealth funds of Canada. That's serious business. That's the government of Canada entrusting this individual with some of their money and investing it. So this is a blow. This whole FTX thing has been a blow to his reputation. And look, I don't know if you guys have ever read the 48 Laws of Power, but one of the laws clearly states reputation is everything. Guard it with your life. So Kevin O'Leary cannot afford, literally, to just sit back and wait for this story to blow over. He's trying to position himself as the person who's going to be at the vanguard of establishing regulation in the digital asset space. Now, listen to him. He talks about, how he, got to discuss these issues with Sam Bankman-Fried, trying to figure out where the money was. Now, I'm going to play this in a minute, but this is interesting because the other thing, and this is where we get into the execution and how I think he's fumbling that in many ways. He's talking about and really coming out hard advocating for the presumption of innocence for Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. That is a legal concept that obligates the government of America to presume someone innocent until they can be proven guilty in a court of law. That is a notion that I subscribe to, but I'm not obligated to. And I think it's funny that Kevin O'Leary is really pushing that notion when he at the same time says Sam Bankman-Fried can't find my money that I invested with him. Okay, so you are not obligated. And Kevin O'Leary, you're a Canadian. So you have no dog in that fight in terms of being obligated to actually feel that Sam Bankman-Fried is innocent until he's proven guilty. To top that, Kevin O'Leary, you're out of money and your clients are out of money. So this is a real tangible fact. Unless Sam Bankman-Fried can write you a check, which at this point is impossible, because even if he did, the federal government would say, hey, no, wait a minute. We're not making any one investor whole while the rest of these people are out here dealing with John J. Ray in the bankruptcy court. That's not going to fly. So I just find it kind of duplicitous in that he's talking out of both sides of his mouth with regard to the presumption of innocence, but at the same time, Sam Bankman-Fried doesn't have my money. All right. So I think that execution is a little poor. Anyway, listen to his kind of timeline with regard to exactly what went on with FTX.
So let me ask you directly. You were an investor in FTX, and I know you've spoken frequently with Sam Bankman-Fried over an extended period of time. Why do you believe FTX failed?
I have an opinion. I don't have the records. Here it is. After my accounts were stripped of all of their assets and all of the accounting and trade information, I couldn't get answers from any of the executives in the firm, so I simply called Sam Bankman-Fried and said, "Where is the money, Sam?" He said he had been refused access to the servers. He no longer knew. I said, "Okay, let's step back. This is a simple case in my mind of where did the money go?" And I said, "Sam, walk me back 24 months. Tell me the use of proceeds of the assets of your company. Where did you spend it?" And then he told me about a transaction that occurred over the last 24 months, the repurchase of his shares from Binance, his competitor. I didn't know this at the time, but at some point, CZ or Binance, who runs Binance, purchased 20% ownership in Sam Bankman-Fried's firm for seed stock. And then, over time, and I asked him, what would compel you to spend $2 billion was the number he was giving me at that time. Later, in a subsequent conversation, about 24 hours later, he told me it could have been as much as $3 billion to buy back the shares from CZ. I asked him, what would compel you to do that? Why wouldn't you keep your assets on your balance sheet? And why would you offer this to just one shareholder? He said, because every time we went to get licensed in different jurisdictions, because you must understand the prize of crypto is to get regulated. For all the talk we say about Bitcoin and everything else, no institutions own this. I work for the sovereign wealth and pension plans. They don't touch this stuff because it's unregulated. Between these two, let's call them frenemies, because they obviously were potentially the two largest shareholders in the firm, they had a disagreement. They had a falling apart. Apparently, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ would not comply with the regulators' request in these different geographies, these different jurisdictions, to provide the data that would clear them for a license. He withheld it, according to Sam Bankman-Fried.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we...
The only option the management and Sam Bankman-Fried had was to buy him out at an extraordinary valuation of close to $32 billion, less apparently a 15% discount. That stripped the balance sheet of assets. You ask me why it went bankrupt? Go to the last week. All of a sudden, in social media, CZ is asking for another $500 million. He wants to do a block trade of FTT, or the proprietary token of FTX. Wants it converted back to fiat. Why would you put that out there? You know it's going to push down the pressure. It's going to push down the value of that coin.
All right, so he tried to do a little bit of a forensic analysis with Sam Bankman-Fried, a little mini analysis of, hey, what's going on here? Now, this testimony was given before the United States Senate just a few days ago. But he soon found out that this thing was not going to turn out in his favor in terms of getting the money back. And it kind of, again, with the execution piece, kind of seems like he was trying to, get in and maneuver something for himself and his clients before anyone else could get in and be made whole. He had access to Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, Joe Blow, who invested with FTX, who, works a 9-to-5 down at the plant, okay, he didn't have Sam Bankman-Fried's personal telephone number. He couldn't call him up. So there's an inequity there in terms of the investors. And Kevin O'Leary might argue, well, hell, I had more invested with him. This is, what we're seeing here is a man tried to preserve his reputation. I don't blame him for that. But at the same time, this should be a cautionary tale to all of us when we see personalities out there in the media, on television. That is not that's not a panacea, or a substitute rather, for due diligence. Okay, I'm going to invest in FTX simply because Tom Brady is doing it. We did the video about the guy who's suing Tom Brady because he said he lost his life savings, put it all into FTX because he likes Tom Brady, and Tom Brady did a commercial telling him to do so. Insane. No accountability whatsoever. So Mr. Wonderful he took a lot of heat from CNBC about kind of saying he wasn't into crypto, and then, I'm going to get into crypto. He's an investor, and he can change his mind on assets. I get that. The case CNBC was trying to make, of course, is that what helped him change his mind was the $15 million he got from FTX to advertise their platform. Okay, so it kind of greased the skids a little bit for him. He's kind of pushed back at that, but I think CNBC is right on that, caused him to take a second look. He got real excited about it, started investing in it. And look, as an investor, I will say this. Every investment is not supposed to be a home run out of the park. So he's saying that. O'Leary is parroting that, and that's true. It just so happens that this investment failed not by, the product didn't sell, or, we had bad management, but we weren't doing anything illegal. Nothing like that. This was malfeasance on a grand scale. And a lot of people are looking at Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, and wondering why he didn't catch this, because he has built his brand as a savvy investor. So this is why he's out there continuing to talk about this, trying to take the lead on this so that he can craft the narrative. And I got to tell you, that's not stupid. Okay, that's actually very shrewd of him to do that. Now, I think he needs to iron out some of his messaging, because it was really embarrassing the other day on CNBC when they called him out on when exactly he started to like crypto. Another thing that Kevin O'Leary is trying to do is he's trying to deflect a lot of the blame for this away from Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX to Binance and its CEO, Changpeng Zhao. CZ for short is apparently what they call him. CZ, SBF, these guys go by there. Call me TK, I guess, let me get into the trend. But this is risky because he's coming off looking like these are cheap shots. The blame lies squarely with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. Now, with regard to best practices in trading, it looks like CZ may have stepped around some of that, but did he violate the law? And this is why Sam Bankman-Fried is out on bail right now, because there are actual charges that have been filed against him for violating not only criminal law, but securities statutes as well. I'm really not sure how blaming this on CZ and Binance is going to help make Kevin O'Leary or his investors whole. Maybe that's not the design of it at all. And, this is more a play into him being seen as the white knight that's going to righteously come out and slay the evil crypto dragon Binance by creating this narrative that it was Binance's fault, that the industry itself is in the shape that it's in today post FTX. But as long as he can get his messaging straight, I think that being out there in front of this is always, being in front of a scandal is always going to be the best kind of thing to do, at least for most people in most cases. Now, there's been some hay made about whether or not he has some sort of, deeper involvement in this. I don't think he does, because I don't think this guy would be voluntarily coming up to testify under oath before the United States Senate if he had something to hide. I really don't think he does. Now, of course, I've been wrong once. Maybe this will be the second time, but we'll see. We've done a lot of coverage on this FTX story simply because I came out very early, took a lot of heat about not believing in crypto, and I still don't. Don't understand it either. And I like investments that are easy to understand. So I don't understand the complexities of it. I think that this incident, FTX, has been a big blow to the reputation of the asset class. Will it recover? In some form or fashion, I'm sure it will. The bigger players probably will be the ones that people have the most faith in. Will these brokerages or exchanges, rather, will they continue to be popular? That remains to be seen. Will regulation come into the industry? Absolutely. So we've done a whole panoply of reports on this, and I encourage you to go check them out at your leisure. And, like, subscribe, comment, leave us some dialogue in the comment section about what you think Kevin O'Leary's involvement is. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.